Hey guys, welcome back. We're going to do anterior thigh. Let me see if I can get some more lighting. Just before we move on too far though, I did want to kind of go over, I forgot with the medial, thigh actually has like a little, you can figure out your own one. I actually think some of my classes made up a better one than mine did. That I had, but pink lemonade bubblegum M&Ms is pectineus, longus, brevis, gracilis, magnus, minimus. These, of course, longus, brevis, magnus, minimus, they all have adductor in front of them, but that was something that was pretty simple for me to understand. Of course, if you can figure out a better way to remember those, by all means. Whoa! Believe me, that's not an earthquake. That is just my clumsiness. I apologize if you threw up watching that. Okay, I'm gonna do this really quick. We're just gonna do the anterior thigh, which might actually be better. You guys are gonna have to forgive me. This is gonna be kind of a mess, but we can do it pretty quickly. We don't have too much craziness that we have to deal with. So the first muscle that I want to start out with is going to be your vastus intermedius. So the vastus intermedius originates on the anterior shaft of the femur, and it inserts into the tibial tuberosity, which actually goes through this patellar ligament to attach into that tibial tuberosity, which is right there. You can feel it on yourself, a little bump area on your tibia. This muscle is deep to all the other anterior thigh muscles, so you can't really see it here. It's hidden. But I'll tell you what, we're going to color it here on our picture with not blue, because I don't want to be confusing here, but I'm going to use colors that are kind of opposite here. So I know it's confusing. I'm using the similar colors. Just stick with me. This here is your vastus intermedius, attaching on the anterior shaft of the femur. You can see this big white section of it is like broad tendinous tissue. It's all connecting it through the patellar ligament into that tibial tuberosity. And a lot of these muscles actually are going to go through that patellar ligament, so remember that. You know what would have been better is if I just labeled it, huh? Vastus intermedius. How about that? That works, huh? Okay, let's get through these quick. Next one is the vastus medialis. Okay, let me see. Oh, again, function is going to be the extension of the knee. So if your knee is flexed, you're going to extend it by bringing it back into the straight position. That's what extension means. You don't want to overextend. That's bad. So we're on vastus medialis with this orange color. Vastus medialis. Its origin is the medial edge of the linea aspera. So remember, linea aspera is that rough line on the back of the femur. It's on the medial edge of that. So it comes around into the front, even though it attaches at the back, and it inserts through that patellar ligament into the tibial tuberosity. So let's bring that back over here. It's vastus medialis. So this is medial. This is that big teardrop muscle that you see on bodybuilders. I don't know that you guys watch bodybuilders, but if you know what I mean, click like in the video. Just kidding. But yes, that also attaches through that patellar ligament into the tibial tuberosity. So that's where we are. Vastus medialis, they call it that teardrop muscle. It extends the knee. The next muscle is going to be your vastus lateralis. So let me see, I've used these two colors already. Vastus lateralis. Let me use this one because it's kind of further away. It's a little bit more purpley. Inserts in the tibial tuberosity, same as everything else, but its origin is on the lateral edge of the linea aspera. So lateral edge of the linea aspera is on the posterior side, but it wraps around to the front, and it's this big chunky muscle that runs all the way along the lateral edge of your thigh. You can feel it, it's superficial, it's thick and juicy. It's directly deep to the IT band, and it's the largest muscle of your quads, the quadricep group. Okay, so let's color it here. I'm gonna give it some lines, because I don't know, that's what I do. Okay, my coloring is terrible. That's okay, we're gonna call this Vastus lateralis, okay? Something interesting on like a squirrel note. The vastus, you can see in the Latin names of the muscles, the first word is capitalized and the last one isn't. Bonus points to whoever can figure that out, the reason they do that for me, because I feel like I knew at one point and now I don't. So there you go. The more you know. Let me use this color here. Rectus femoris is a very common muscle as being your kicker muscle because it crosses the hip and the knee. So the origin is going to be up at the ASIS, which is the anterior iliac, anterior inferior iliac spine. Say that 5 times really quick. Anterior inferior iliac spine. And then you can say it with an accent. The anterior inferior iliac spine. Okay? Just so you remember it. Also, I just think it'd be funny to hear you guys say that. Okay, it also inserts into the tibial tuberosity through that patellar ligament that you can see down here. The function is to extend the knee, which bring it straight, your leg straight, but then it also flexes the hip because it crosses the hip. So if you were to contract those fibers, it would make you bend your hip, okay? So kind of different, extend the knee and flex the hip. So let's come over to this side. It's this big juicy one right here. I know, confusing because it's the same color as the gracilis muscle we just talked about. There's that. So we just have a few, well, 2 more, but we're really only going to talk about the Sartorius. And that's this big S-shaped muscle that's running across. It attaches here at the ASIS, which is your anterior superior iliac spine. Iliac, remember the iliac crest? So the ASIS is the origin, and it actually will insert into the, whoa, that's not the muscle I wanted, into the medial, medial to the tibial tuberosity. So kind of the same as the other one's tibial tuberosity, but it's just medial to it, so it's not quite there. But this is known as the hacky sack muscle. It kind of crosses down over. Why do you guys think it's called the hacky sack muscle? If any of you guys have ever played hacky sack, you have to flex your hip, flex your knee, and rotate your hip at the same time to kick that little sack, right? That's what this muscle does. Kind of interesting, huh? That this is built into our bodies to do that. But yeah, that's your Sartorius muscle, kind of S-shaped. We call it quads because you have the vastus intermedius all the way to the rectus femoris. But these last 2 are actually not part of the quads officially. They're there in the anterior compartment, but they're not actually part of the quads. So, the last one is your articularis genu. I'm just going to show it to you on this. It's not really that big of a muscle. I actually asked my chiropractor about it once, and he's like, I've never heard of that muscle. So maybe it's not that important. Maybe it is. Maybe you'll know more than your chiropractor. But articulus genus originates the anterior distal shaft of the femur. Remember, translate that in your head. Anterior means the front, distal means further from the trunk, and shaft of the femur. And then the insertion is the patellar bursa. Bursa is what cushions that knee cap. And basically what happens with this muscle is it pulls that bursa, that little sac of fluid, out of the way, basically to protect it, and so it doesn't pop. But that bursa is what's giving your knees some extra cushion, and that muscle is going to pull that out of the way. Sorry, I should give you a better view here. That's what it looks like. Basically, that's what it does. So that's the end of our anterior thigh. The common action would be to extend the knee, which is just straighten the leg. Common attachment is your tibial tuberosity. But there you are, anterior compartment. Thanks, guys. I'll see you in the next video.